Smiley Day Geeks, welcome back to the Geeksider Show. I'm Josh.
I'm Anna.
And in this video, we're going to be discussing Critical Role Campaign 3, Episodes 18. If you haven't seen it yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Last episode left off, they were about to start combat. This episode, that combat kicked off, and right off the bat, Ashton gets hit for like 32 damage.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh damn, this is gonna go real bad, and it did. It went pretty bad.
Yeah, like I was panicking. I thought they were gonna lose. I thought somebody was gonna die. I was worried about Ashton. I was like, no, you cannot do this to Taliesin twice in a row.
I had the exact same thought. I thought, oh man, he's gonna get mollied.
Yeah, you can't molly Ashton. I don't allow it.
Because Ashton gets hit for 32 damage, gets swallowed, and then takes a whole bunch of poison damage or acid damage. Acid damage. And that was like the first round, and the fight didn't get much better. And this was a pretty long fight. It was like over an hour long.
It felt pretty long. It was like almost 2 hours long, I think.
The episode,
it was like an hour and a half, I think.
Yeah,
maybe.
somewhere around there. Because the episode was 3.5 hours longer, so a little bit more.
Yeah, and it was, they didn't go to break at half. They went to break after half, and it was because the battle took so long. But still, like, a long fight. And then, like, oh man, I worried about Laudna, and I was like...
And what was crazy was none of the players rolled particularly bad.
No,
Well, they didn't roll great, but they didn't take Marisha, for instance. She's been rolling bad in combat for a while. Yes. She rolled pretty darn good, and nobody rolled really, really bad. That was just a really beefy monster.
And it's one monster for 7 players.
Yeah.
7 level 5 players. Of course it's got to be beefy. And the thing that almost got them was if they got incapacitated. Yeah. Those hits were critical.
Those auto crits,
Yeah, the auto crits. That's what fucked Ashton. That's what fucked Laudna. That's what was getting them, was those auto crits.
And who got swallowed? It was Ashton Laudna, and FCG. And they all got swallowed. FCG came out of it pretty okay. Yeah. Laudna legit almost died. Yeah. If it wasn't for her racial abilities, she would have been done, I think.
Yeah, which that was really interesting. Like, Laudna's really fucking hard to kill. Yeah. Like, there were 2 different abilities that saved her from dying. The first, which she failed, the second, which she got. And because I have the memory of a goldfish, I don't remember what either one of those things are called. But there were 2 specific, different abilities that saved her from death.
And that whole scenario with her rolling the death save, that got like a little bit wonky because she went down and it was like on the same turn or something, so she had to roll the death save on the same turn where she went down. It was just a little bit weird, but oh my god, like I thought for sure Laudna was done. Yeah,
I was really worried. I was like, gosh, I hope Marisha's got a backup character because fuck, I think.
Well, I was just like, man, I mean, Laudna's so cool. That I was like, man, if this character dies, I think I'll be probably more bummed than when Molly died. For me, anyway.
I think it's because she has a history that links back to Campaign 1.
That's probably it. I think that, and I think also Marisha seems more into this particular character.
Yes.
And I would feel really bad for her if she lost this character this early in the campaign, being that attached. Like Laudna is Marisha's Carol. Like when I think of, like, you know, who's Taliesin's character? It's Molly.
Yeah.
And he lost that character in episode 26 of Campaign 2. Imagine if Marisha lost her character in episode 18.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw, Taliesin lost Molly in episode 26, so he kind of remade Molly for this campaign. Yeah, like Ashton has a lot of Molly traits. Ashton's not Molly. I'm not saying that he duplicated Molly and is now playing Molly. He's playing,
Molly-esque.
Yeah, he's playing the aspects of Molly that he wished he had gotten the chance to play in Campaign 2. And then melded them in with some other interesting aspects that he wanted to try out too. But there are definitely some Molly-esque traits in Ashton.
So, in the back half of the episode, kind of uneventful. They finally made it to the Hartmore Hamlet, and one thing that I had forgotten was Laura Imogen's her goals, her mission quest, kind of connects with Orem's a little bit, and I had forgotten about that because we haven't talked about it for a while.
Yeah, it hasn't really been talked about.
Yeah, so Estani, who Brescio sent Orem to talk to, is also the person that Imogen needed to see because they might have the pages that were missing from that
journal study, whatever.
That scientific study that she looked over in the library. And I had completely forgot about that because it hasn't been mentioned in a while. And it was just something that Lord just I need to talk to this person too because they might have the pages. It was like just a little throwaway thing, and I was like, oh man, that's right. And that to me was like the most important part of the episode is that link. And it was just kind of something that Laura almost said under her breath.
Well, no, she played up Imogen being nervous about being in the Hartmore and just anxious to go see Estani. Like, she didn't want Ashton to check in because she was afraid that would lead to them jumping right into their mission, and then she wouldn't get to talk to Estani, and she wouldn't get to find her connection, and she was worried that once they completed Ashton's mission, they were going to have to go back right away.
I missed all of that.
Yeah, it was, it wasn't all verbal. There was quite a few times where Imogen was just like this.
Okay, I was probably watching somebody else.
Yeah. There was a lot of just angst and anxiety in Imogen that was portrayed through Laura. But she did mention when Ashton said we should go check in, she was like, but what if that starts the clock? Because if we finish this, we might have to go back, and I have things to do here. And then, I think she would then pass on, Orem has things to do here, she didn't want to make it all about her.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Yeah, we have things to do.
But she wasn't shitty about it.
No. She was just worried.
It was like a heads
it.
up.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
Like, hey, we all have things to do here. Let's not jump the gun.
Yeah, and I think it was mostly because Ashton's deal didn't have a lot of clarification, so they weren't sure if they show up, were they okay, clock's on, we got to do this right now, or was it okay, we'll let you know, we'll meet tomorrow or whatever. Yeah. And I think that's what she was more worried about, is that they would have to do it right away, and then once it was completed, they would need to go back right away, and she wouldn't have time to do the whole reason why she came personally.
Speaking of Ashton's mission, I think that group that they came across on the way in, I think that's the people they're competing against.
I do now too, but when Gianna said that they were going to compete against a group, my immediate thought was it's going to be the Nobodies. But now, after they met that group, I'm like,
But what if there's more than one other competing group?
Well, it's only one other noble outside of Gianna who's made this bet with that pompous elf dude.
Okay.
As far as Gianna told, she said she made a deal. This other noble dick face heard about the deal and was like, I want in on that too. I bet my crew can do it. And now they're competing against each other to go after pompous dude's stuff.
Right.
Because I know names.
Well, pompous dude with the big flary thing and the I'm like, good God.
His name's not worth remembering.
Could you have made this guy more obnoxious? I mean, just his outfit, I was like, okay, this guy's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. And so I'm kind of torn. I'm like, I bet now that they've met that group on the road, I'm like, that's probably who it's gonna be, because that makes sense. Then they kind of already have an opportunity to have a minor relationship with this group, and now they're gonna have to compete against each other. But man, how good would it have been if it was the Nobodies?
Well, my first thought when I was watching the episode, when they started coming upon this group, I was like, I wonder if this is the Nobodies.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first thing. The first thing that occurred to me.
Because Ashton didn't make any when we
no
did description,
reaction
Ashton had no reaction. So I was like, that can't be the Nobodies.
Yeah. But that was my initial thought, and then I went, nope, Ashton's not making a deal out of this. This isn't them. But my first thought was, I wonder if this is them. But then,
They're going to come across them at some point.
They have to.
I was just like, this kind of seems like a perfect opportunity to work them into the story, but it also seems a little too obvious, so if he doesn't do that, I totally understand.
Yeah. One thing that you pointed out, and I thought was really, really cool, was Ashley and her spellcasting.
Yeah, Ashley was getting into spellcasting. Like, all of them have kind of this campaign really gotten into, like, Calebifying their abilities, and I'm fucking here for it. Like, every time Laudna describes her stuff, I'm just like, oh, it's so good.
And Ashley's getting into it now with the poison spray.
Yeah, the poison spray. That was the only one she did, but when she described the poison spray and was like, I'm like, yes!
It was really cool.
Ashley, so cool!
And unfortunately, that creature was resistant to poison.
It kind of didn't work very well, but it was really, really cool.
Also, there was some really cool stuff going on with FCG and their subclass that I thought was, that you pointed out, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that was really, really cool.
FCG specifically asked Matt, would you consider Imogen and I allies or trusted companions or
something like that?
Something like that. Trusted something. And he was like, oh, well, after the mind meld, yeah, you would be trusted companions. And then he did something new that they've never done before. So, like, their subclass, depending on their relationship level with the people, is what things they have access to, abilities they have access to. And that's really fucking cool. Because I don't think any other subclass does something like that. It was just really, really interesting. And I cannot wait for this subclass to be made public so that we can actually see what all the rules and stuff are and to possibly play it.
Yeah, because there's probably like a lot of little nuances in there that we have no idea about yet, because they're only level 5.
Yeah,
and it's not in a Tal'Dorei Reborn.
No, and there's like little stuff where like the when FCG said something or did something, he let Imogen try to access thoughts, and Matt told them, you take 2 points or 4 points or whatever, and we're like, what? Of what? What happened?
That was like 3 episodes ago.
That was a while ago. It was a while ago. That wasn't even the mind meld episode. That was like 2 or 3 episodes before that. It was like,
it's been a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a while. But like there's little things like that, and then they're glitching, and then Milo saying it was pent up energy, and like there is little like
things
going
like
on
vibrating
with
or something.
Yeah, like there's little things going on with FCG, and it's really hard to tell since it's a homebrew subclass. Are these subclass things, or are these FCG backstory things? It's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
Like especially the take a point. Or take 2 points, whatever. Yeah. Was that a subclass thing, or is that a backstory?
And the thing is, it could be backstory and subclass, or it could be one or the other. I mean, it's if the empathy domain cleric is one of the most interesting things about campaign 3, and I really I rolled a cleric here recently. I want to play an empathy domain cleric now.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of interest in the cleric.
Class.
Thank you. The exception of the Grave Cleric that Caduceus played, I was like, oh, that's really, really cool. Even Trickster Cleric, okay, sure, Cleric's just not my thing. But Empathy Cleric, I would absolutely roll an Empathy Cleric, just based on the very minimal knowledge that we have so far.
So, this was a short episode, and not a lot of lore. After the combat, not really that eventful.
No, it was kind of just setting up things for next episode. I think next episode is going to be major.
I think it's going to be long.
Yeah, I'm betting a 4.5 hour episode.
Because where Matt ended it, they were getting ready to go in and talk to Astani. So I think it's a good move on Matt's part, because it gives them some time to...
One, think of questions.
Yes.
And 2, is sometimes their RP conversations go for a long time. So yeah, they ended at like 3 hours 40 minutes or something like that, but like if they had done that conversation easily could have gone 45 minutes.
And Matt even said, maybe it'll take 15 minutes, maybe it'll take an hour, and that's the God's honest truth of it.
Yeah, you really don't have any idea, because sometimes the conversation is like, oh, and just one more thing, and oh, just one more thing, and it just goes on, because it's not just Orem needing to talk to Astani. Imogen needs to talk to him as well.
Yeah.
So that's 2 separate conversations that need to happen. That's a lot of information to cover.
And I think that was a really good move as a DM, because if you go in and you have that conversation there, the players can forget some of the questions that they wanted to ask, and then bang, they don't get the information that they needed for their mission,
that their characters would have asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think giving them a week, letting them write down their questions and prepare for it, I think that was a great move as a DM.
Yeah.
And are they off next week?
They are off next week.
Oh, so we gotta wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, we have to wait 2 weeks. I bet they've recorded back to back.
Yeah, this has probably been recorded ages ago.
Yeah, but we have to wait 2 weeks because next week is EXU.
That's right, which we will be doing a video on EXU. Probably be doing 2. Well, no, because there's one episode on Thursday
and then
an
on
episode on Friday.
Yeah.
So we'll probably do our video on that on Saturday.
Yeah, probably.
So stay tuned for that. And I think that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please let us know by dropping a like on it. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.
And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.